Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Fractured Realities. I'm your host, Jay Warner. Um, Today, I want to talk a little bit about my issues with politics. I'm going to split this into a two-part show. Um, First, let's talk about conservatism. Let's talk about the neocons. All right. My first vision when I was growing up, what did I picture the Republican Party as? Well, let me just give you a little background. I grew up in a small town. Once upon a time, a bunch of the people that I went to town, that I lived in town with, that I went to school with, went to a dance. And at that dance, they drank alcohol. And on the way back from that dance, they were killed in a tragic accident. Yeah, I'm trolling the fuck out of you. That's footloose. But that's the kind of image that the media portrayed of the right wing, of the conservative party, the fucking town elders from Footloose, the old white stuffy men who just, didn't want you to have any fun. The societal, the guys who have the money, who have the power, who run everything and just control you. Well, that's certainly not necessarily the case in reality. As as you all know, the media is controlled by liberal interests. But now I have a few issues with the conservatives. Um, I do believe in smaller government. I can agree with you on that. I do believe that we need to tighten up our borders. I mean, there's plenty of people who come over here legally. It's not a problem. We're all immigrants. Everybody here is an immigrant of one form or the other. Whether you cross a land bridge 14,000 years ago or whether you spent the time, you can come over here and become a citizen. It's not a problem. I don't care about mixing up the fruit bowl. What I care about is people coming over here from the third world who don't understand our culture and who can't adapt. So therefore, I do agree with them on that point. I do agree with them on smaller government. Do we really fucking need a DEA and FBI, Homeland Security, 50 million police forces, 50 million departments, $1.3 trillion mass entity? No, we don't. We really don't need that. I think our tax dollars are being misappropriated. So yeah, I do agree to a certain extent with the conservative values, at least when it comes to government. Now, here's what I don't agree with the conservatives about. Number one, the whole war on homosexuality. I never have fucking understood this, and I never will. I mean, I'm a straight man, but I've been around homosexuals my entire life. They exist. You're not going to legislate that out. You're not going to make laws and stop people from caring about who they care about, whether they care about men or they care about women. It's their choice. What they do in their home is not going to affect you. Do you understand? Because you have a homosexual person living down the street does not mean that they're going to rape your children. Does not mean that your son's going to suddenly be wearing a dress. That's up to you as a parent to help them form their opinions in life and not jump to conclusions or these whole gender things. It's not, you can't legislate morality. People who, once again, I'm not a drug user, but I don't care if people smoke pot in their house. The fuck are they going to do? Are they going to go raid the fucking Twinkie aisle? Yeah, they're going to be real mellow and they can't talk real well. The only thing they're going to be damaging is a bag of fucking Fritos. I'd much rather see a world full of potheads than a world full of alcoholics. Alcohol has been a bane on society since its inception. More evil's been done with alcohol, which is a legal substance, than everything. And obviously, prohibition doesn't work. You can't ban alcohol. But hey, let's learn to have some fun without the booze. Maybe there'll be less homicides, less chaos in the world if everybody wasn't in a drunk fucking stupor all the time. So yeah, I've had my battles with alcoholism, which I'll probably talk about later. But I've been without a drop for 2 years, and on occasion, when I have the chance, I do attend AA meetings. Um, Not necessarily 100% for me because they're more of a religious-based organization. I don't really bow down to any higher power, which I talked about in one of my former episodes. But it is a helpful organization, and for those of you who need help with alcoholism, if you drink once a week, you're a weekend warrior. You can control it. That's fine. Now, if you have to drink every fucking day, if you have to have a nightcap to unwind, if you have to be under the influence of alcohol to drink, then you have an alcohol problem. Like I said, I'll do a show on addiction later on. Share some of my horror stories and maybe be able to help you out a little bit. But yeah, regulation of marijuana, legalize it. What the fuck? I mean, you have pharmaceutical drugs that kill millions of people. You have alcohol that destroys people's livers and kills millions of people. Both are way worse side effects than marijuana or THC use. So stop it with the whole regulation of marijuana. It's fucking pointless. It's a weed. It grows everywhere. Anybody can grow pot. They're not going to regulate it just because you can't tax it. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Once again, the profit. Here we have the town elders telling you, oh, marijuana leads to this and that. It's fucking 1940s propaganda. Reefer madness. It's ridiculous. You're not going to have groups of ethnic minorities raping and murdering everybody because they smoke a joint. Hell, fucking most of the black guys that I grew up with and that I know were fucking really chill once they smoked pot. So I think it's a good thing. I'd rather see people on pot than all these fucking prescription medications and bullshit. So where you just continuously hammer away that it's evil and that it's bad. And religion. And what pisses me off the most about conservatives, what would Jesus do? Well, answer me this. Is Jesus running for Congress, Senate, governor, president? No. Who cares what Jesus would do? It's not about religion. Your religion cannot. We have a separation of church and state for a fucking reason. Okay? I know that we live in a country that is a majority Christian, but that doesn't mean that your political views need to reflect that. And all I hear is a lot about God this and God that. Well, if you're fucking looking around, we live in a pretty godless, God-forsaken world at this moment. So I don't think that God has a whole lot to do with the fucking equation. So let's keep religion out of it. And then you have the neocons who go completely against the whole idea of the Republican Party and the Conservative Party and smaller government, who vote constantly for entitlements, for more money, for a bigger budget, a bigger government, a bigger war effort, a bigger military. Nothing against the military. I have nothing but respect for those who serve. But I'm talking about those who stand behind the curtains. The military industrial complex who makes millions and millions of dollars off of war and off of suffering. And there's a lot of the neoconservatives who absolutely support that. Hell, President Trump has quite a few of them in his office, which is one of the problems that I do have with Donald Trump. He's surrounding himself with fucking neocon assholes. Now, whether He feels that he has to cross a gap to Democrats with the fucking neocons who are, absolutely globalists, or whether, you know, that's on him. I don't agree with a lot of his appointments, and I think that it's absolute fucking malarkey. A lot of the neocon ideas and helping big business. Yeah, you can help big business. Business creates industry. I understand that. It creates jobs. It creates economy. But how many breaks do they need? Why did banks and auto industries, who are multi-billion-dollar companies, need trillion-dollar bailouts when there's people starving in the streets? Let's answer that before you roll on about, smaller government and this and that, and how, you're here for the people. And then you had the neocons back in the 1980s who busted up the unions, who made it harder for workers' rights. And then there's the issue of abortion. Okay. Big time fucking double-edged sword. I have some mixed feelings about abortion. Okay. When I was younger, I was probably a lot more virile than I am now. I impregnated a couple different women. I'm not going to go into specifics, and a few of them had abortions. I wasn't told. I didn't have a choice. I wasn't aware of it. That bothers me. Also, there was the fact that when my mother, okay, let's rewind. A few years before I was born, my mother had a miscarriage. She lost twins. They told her that she had a lot of scar tissue. She had a damaged wound. Never get pregnant. Well, 3 years later, she was pregnant with me. They told her, well, there's no way, your womb's twisted. You're not going to be able to deliver a healthy baby. Abort, abort, abort. And then when she was pregnant with me, she got a case of the German measles, fever of 105. And they told her once again, abort, abort, abort. Only choice, you're going to have a retarded child. Well, she decided to give birth regardless of the outcome. So, I mean, if I was going with the full abortion narrative, I would never exist. And obviously, I'm not retarded. I might be ugly. I might have my moments of non-brilliance. But as far as I know, my mind's probably about 70% coherent most of the time. So, but at the same rate, you fall down a slippery slope when you start telling people what they can and can't do with their bodies. What does it start with? You telling women they can't have abortions, then telling women they can't have breast enlargements? Well, I like big titties. Most of the people that I know like big titties. Most of the women that I know like big titties. So what's that next? You're going to tell me I can't have tattoos? Are you going to tell people that they can't get piercings, that they can't wear their hair a certain way? It's a slippery slope. Once the government begins to regulate what a person can and can't do, there's no end to it. Once you open that Pandora's box and allow legislation on every aspect of life, there's a problem. So that's my huge problem with conservatives. Okay. So I would have to ultimately fall into the pro-choice, because even though I don't personally like abortion and I don't think it's necessary in most cases, I believe it should be a woman's right to choose. I think it should be your right to choose what you want to do with your body. You want to cut off an arm and fucking tattoo the stump. You want to do what you want to do. You want to sell your body in the oldest fucking profession on earth, prostitution. Why is this still illegal? Take some fucking criminality out of it. You won't have a bunch of pimps out there getting a bunch of young girls addicted to fucking dope to put them on the street. They can be regulated. They can be healthy. They could be an industry. Maybe to cut down the rape epidemics. You never know. So, let's, why is this still illegal? Why are we still living in this puritanical society? All these regulations on what we watch and what we fucking listen to. Why can I watch a show like Sons of Anarchy and see somebody get a bullet between their head and the back of their head explode, but I can't see a fucking nipple? I mean, come on. Straighten up your priorities. I'd rather have my kids see a nude body than death and destruction every day. I'm not talking about full out pornography. I mean, those who are addicted to pornography, I think, have a certain issue. But it's your right to choose what you listen to and what you can and can't do. What your children listen to. Don't take those rights away from us to choose what we do in the privacy of our own home. Who people love, who people care about, what people want to do. If it's not hurting you and it's not affecting your life, leave it the fuck alone. And that goes for Democrats as well. And believe me when I say that I have something for your ass too. My next episode is going to be about you. It'll probably be a little bit longer than that because liberals have completely lost their fucking mind, at least in the past 2 years. So yeah, the legislation of morality, banning of marijuana, tax breaks for big industry. I mean, if you want to reach across the board and you want to reach people, stop with the elitist bullshit. Stop with the military industrial complex. Let's come together across the board and do something constructive for fucking society and for the voters. Stop putting 90-year-old fucking men up. That's why Donald Trump won, by the way. Donald Trump won because Donald Trump was different. He wasn't your basic old conservative stuffy fucking person. Infuse a little youth in the Republican Party. Infuse some different views. Do something different. People got tired of the same. That's why Mitt Romney, Jeb Bush, Marco Fat Ass Rubio, Ted Cruz, that's why they all fell by the wayside. That's why you neocons were defeated, because you're going with the same thing over and over again. You're not infusing any new blood, infusing any new ideas. And that's the problem with the Republican Party. And you also fight those who do. Ron Paul. I mean, they've been absolutely ostracized, told that they're not true conservatives. Same thing with Trump. You absolutely cast fucking stones. It's time to grow as a party. It's time to get some new ideas. Fuck. I think the greatest thing that could happen is if a true independent, not an independent who wants to throw in for the Republicans or throw in for the Democrats so that this person can't get elected or that person can't get elected. Those aren't real independents. The fucking Green Party, Ross Perot, they were put in there so that one party wouldn't be elected. They knew damn well that they didn't have it, but we haven't had a true independent candidate who would come in. So let's get away from this two-party system, this nonsense. Let's stop being the fucking town elders from Footloose and adapt with the times. This is 2018, not 1956. There's a world, there's acceptable evils and there's unacceptable evils. You might think that they're evil. If you don't like homosexual people, don't be involved in a homosexual relationship. If you don't like marijuana, don't smoke marijuana. If you don't like abortion, don't fucking have one. But don't regulate the world and keep your foot on the back of those people who do those, especially with marijuana. I mean, it's a medicinal thing. It helps people. It's a proven fact. So let's get off of that bullshit right away. Okay. So those are my problems with conservatives. That's why I can't call myself a true conservative. I can't call myself a true Republican. Now, with that being said, a lot of the ideas that they come up with for government, the ones that don't involve morality, are the ones that don't involve religion, or archaic fucking concepts of Americana. They have some good ideas. Smaller government's a great thing. Less regulation on business, more creation of wealth. I am not about the redistribution of wealth, but I am about equal taxation across the board, which is something else that they're against. Let's stop marching out old, crusty white guys, telling them that they have to be in a suit and be soft hell. Let's have a tattooed president. Let's have a female president. Let's do something a little different. Not because it's the right thing to do, but because that candidate has some new ideas. Infuse some new blood in the Republican Party. Not just a nice pair of tits stuffed in a suit like Sarah Palin, who I don't think is a horrible person and I think was ostracized, but was she the right candidate? No, I don't think so. She wasn't strong enough to carry herself. And she was humiliated. Maybe that's by design. Maybe you neocons were in it with that so that Obama would run unopposed, which he did. And you were destroyed. Your only hope is to reach across the aisle with more moderate conservatives and with the younger people, with the Donald Trumps, with the Rand Pauls. And no, I know that Donald has his problems and he is a bit of a neocon. I don't agree with everything he says. So don't even start with the whole Nazi name calling fucking bullshit. I don't want to hear it. I'm not a fascist. I'm not a Nazi. But the man does have some good ideas. And he also has some really shitty ones. But I'm not here to talk about Donald Trump. If you want to have a 2 hour long dialogue about Donald Trump, go to Fox and watch him wave his flag if you're in that party. Or go to CNN and listen to how he's destroying the fucking universe. Either or, I don't need to be told what to think or how to think. So that mass media has no importance for me. So let's adapt with the times, Republicans. This isn't the 1950s or the 1960s. Marijuana is not harmful, but that booze that you drink at every Republican gala, yeah, that's got a death toll. Do I think that a 13 or 14-year-old girl who's raped and becomes pregnant shouldn't be allowed to have an abortion? Or if a lady's going to literally die from giving birth to a baby, should she not be able to have an abortion? Because somewhere in the Bible, although I've never fucking been able to find a passage that says that thou shalt have an abortion. Choice. Don't take our choice away based on your religious views. Religion is something for you. It's a personal thing. It's your personal connection with the divine. It's not a tool of legislation and a tool of control. So, those are the issues that I have with conservatives and the conservative party. It's 2018. Let's wake up. Let's do something for the people, not just for the businesses, not just for the churches, not just for those who stuff your coffers and fill your fucking associates up with money. It's for the people, remember? Not for your interests. Thank you. And I'll see you again where I talk about liberals. Take care, people. Stay informed, stay awake.